Hey there, Divi lovers! I'm back with another tutorial for you. That is, if you are using Divi and if you are building a webshop with the WooCommerce plugin and if you want your customer account page to look great, then this video is definitely for you. Hi, my name is Anya, and my goal here is to help you build beautiful websites. And maybe you already know that working with WooCommerce in Divi can sometimes be a little frustrating, especially if you want more design control over some of the default Woo elements. Not everything can be customized with Divi module settings, and simply styling certain elements requires custom CSS. So before we dive in, let me explain what we're doing. This video is a replay of a live stream session that took place last year inside my Divi Stylist Academy. And just a heads up, it is a long one, but I will be sharing loads of valuable tips along the way. So if you're not afraid of using custom CSS and want to take full control over the customer account page, just stay with me. I guess you can always watch it at double speed if needed, and I will be sharing some helpful timestamps in the video description so you can quickly jump to different parts of the walkthrough. And just to give you a few highlights of what we'll cover, I am going to show you how to add customer name to the account page header. We will spend some time styling the default sidebar navigation, including adding custom icons and highlighting the current menu item. And then we'll remove that navigation. If you'd like a different approach, I will show you how to replace it with a Divi Builder layout using vertical tabs with blurbs. And then we'll take it one step further. I'll show you how to style buttons in the account area, how to style tables, forms, essentially how to make the entire account page match your brand and just look great. Every CSS snippet I share can be found on my Divi Lover blog. All right, so if that sounds good, let's get to work. This is a default account page that you would see once you install WooCommerce on your site. That's how your customers would see their account once they are logged in. So obviously this isn't perfect. There's a lot of room for improvement, I would say, particularly with that navigation right here. But just to kind of take a step back first and explain how it exactly works. So in WooCommerce settings, in the advanced tab, my account is the page that you assign here to be your main account page. It's not just a page that you create in your pages list, but it has to be connected with WooCommerce here in WooCommerce settings. So usually upon WooCommerce installation, these pages would be created for you. So it's not like you would go in and design that account page beforehand. WooCommerce will create new pages when you activate it and then automatically assign them here. You can change that later if you need, if you want to maybe name your page differently. On your pages list, you see I have cart page, checkout page, my account page, so and also shop page, I believe. So 4 additional pages created by WooCommerce, and today we are focusing on my account page. Like I showed you, this is the default version if we are not even using the Divi Builder yet. So if I go to edit that page, you would see that the only content here is the shortcode WooCommerce My Account, and that is giving us the output for that little navigation and all the content, orders list, account details and all that. So that shortcode is responsible for everything that happens in here. If we enable the builder here, so we can quickly get rid of that sidebar if we don't want it here, and I guess that's usually the case. So if I enable the builder, I think that will automatically remove it for us. Use existing content so that we still have that shortcode here. And now WordPress Divi place that shortcode for us inside a text module setting. So this is a plain text module, and inside I have that WooCommerce My Account shortcode. So, you know, we can try and style it a little bit better just by, let's start with a little separate section with hi Adela, lovely to see you. You were the inspiration for that walkthrough, so I'm glad to have you here. And I forgot to mention, but you probably already know this. If there's anything, if anything that I'm sharing and showing you is not entirely clear, please don't be shy. Jump in the comments, ask follow-up questions, or just, you know, if there's any other questions that come to mind as you watch me do this, I am here to answer them as well. So yes, if anything is not clear, just let me know. Okay, so just for a nicer start, I'm going to add a new section with a text module. Again, I want to add, text. I want to add a little heading. So something like, you know, my account, welcome to my account, manage your account, whatever you want to call it, but just let's keep it simple for the sake of this tutorial. I want this text to be light because I want the section background to be darker. So just, we don't see it yet, but now if I change the background, let's go with Divi's purple version, and now that could be you know, a heading of my account page, and that's a pretty good start. I'm not going to go in depth and really making it pretty because that would take too long. I will show you what you can do, right? But we're not going to really focus on perfecting our font sizes and all that, but just the functionality and technicality behind what's possible. So one thing to start with, a little custom code bit that I like to use and I use on my own site. Divi doesn't allow us to use username when we want to use dynamic content, so it's not an option to choose a username. We can choose author name, but that's no point. I would want to get the username so that I can display it here and then say, welcome Anya, manage your account, or welcome Anya, how are you? Whatever, like just to make it a little bit more personal, we can include that customer name here. And there is a little PHP snippet that I use to create a custom shortcode. And let me go back to, not back, but let me go and show you. I already added it to my child theme, but this could go, if you are using, it's a PHP code, so it could go either to functions PHP file inside the child theme, or if you are using a snippets plugin, that could also be placed there. So this is the bit of code. It basically creates a new shortcode that's called current user display name. And inside the function that is responsible for the content of that shortcode, we are getting the current user and then getting display name of the current user and then returning it as the content of our shortcode. Here we are just naming the shortcode itself and connecting the function name with the shortcode attachment function, basically. So very simple, meaning just a few lines of code really, and you can treat it as your little code snippet that you just keep somewhere safe. It's not like we have to know how to write this from scratch, right? It's just a copy and paste thing, and then that shortcode name is what we can use. So let me just copy that from here, and back here I have h1 with my account, and then let's try something like hi and my shortcode. So hi Anya, how are you? I'm not sure what would be, like, you can make it your own, obviously. And let's save that. Let me save the page. You see in the preview the shortcode gives us additional space, but it's actually, it won't be here once we exit the page. So right now it works very good. Now it could be a bit worse when we log out. So let me just check that. If I am logged out, you see there's like this space between where the name's supposed to be and hi. So either you would want to get creative in where you are using that name, or we can duplicate that text module and choose a different one for logged in and different one for logged out user. So because right now when you are logged out, WordPress doesn't know what's the current username, right? So only once we log in, we see that name. So for that reason, I can go back here, log myself again, log myself in. And now just to kind of explain what I meant with show different thing for logged in and logged out in the module settings, and that could be entire section or just that module, advanced tab conditions, we can add a display condition that says that it will show that module based on user logged in status. So display only if user is logged in. So that version with the shortcode, that would be the correct condition. If I save that, you will also get a warning that that type of condition is not recommended to be used when you have caching enabled. But since we are on the account page, that is a page that you would usually want to exclude from caching anyway. So I don't consider that an issue here. It is a good practice not to cache your account pages, for a simple reason that the user may visit an account page, then make a purchase, and then when they go back, they may not see the latest order because they would see the cached version, right? So we would want to exclude them. Adela is asking, are those pages excluded from caching automatically? So I've seen many plugins have that exclusion already inserted by default, like they would assume that seeing you have WooCommerce installed, but I'm guessing it's not always the case. So you would want to check that with inside the caching plugin that you're using. Like Divi on its own doesn't use caching, so it's always going to be on the side of the plugin that you chose to handle caching for you. You can any plugin, I'm pretty sure, would allow you to exclude different pages, types of pages from caching. So definitely something to check if you are running WooCommerce store. So right now we are not worried about that. Notice here we can duplicate that module, and then that would be the version for the logged out user. So we would say login to see your account details or something like that. But here in the advanced tab conditions, we would change that condition so that will only display that module if user is logged out. So the opposite version. Now we would see both in the Visual Builder, but here if we exit the page, here I am logged in, and now if I log out, it's going to show that other text module. So that is pretty neat, just a little thing that kind of, helps maybe convey your brand personality a bit more if you get nice wording here, something not so generic, but just really connect with your customers this way. So that additional heading is one step that we can take, making it personal with a little PHP snippet is the second part. And now, sorry, let's go back here. And now let's focus on that part. And here, I wasn't sure what would be the best way to approach this, because there are a few different things we can do here. I do want to focus on that navigation here on the side, and I will show you different versions of how you can customize it, and then you choose which one you prefer, applying to your site. First approach is using CSS to style that these links so that they look as a separate navigation. I'm not sure, let me check if I have, yes, I do have my account on my Divi Lover site, just to show you how it could look. So here on, if you are logged in to a Divi Lover website, you would again see your name, Anna T for testing. That's my username here on my own shop. And here I am using the same navigation, but I just used some CSS so that it looks more like a navigation and not just a simple list of links. We can also style active links separately to indicate which tab we are currently on. So this is what I want to show you first. So going back here, like I mentioned at the beginning, this is a text module. We do have some design settings for our text module, but they are limited to text. There's no way to style these links on the site separately. If we style links, because sure, we have, in the text links, we could try to use these settings to maybe change the font to uppercase, make it a little bolder so that it resembles navigation a bit more. But as you see, it would affect every link across entire content of that text module, and that includes that right side with the tab content itself. So we don't want to make these changes here. We do we need to use CSS. That's what we have to do. So now just saving it for no reason, because it's the same as it was. But if I refresh my page now, okay, so just a few CSS properties that we can apply to make it look nicer, and then also I will discuss how to add icons. But first, let's focus on link styling itself. Right click, inspect, and now I can see here that that entire content of my account, because it's not, obviously it's not just that one tab, it's also my orders list, my account details, so form where user can change their details. It's all happening on one sorry, let me just show you the URL, on one my account page. These are just different, it's called endpoints, so different sub pages which you cannot edit because they are created by WooCommerce. So all that content, regardless of which tab or which part, which endpoint you're currently on, is wrapped inside a div with a class WooCommerce that's inside my module, right? I have a ETPB module, ETPB text, that is the the rest of the HTML structure created by the Divi Builder, but inside my ETPB text inner, I do have a div with a class WooCommerce. And then there are two parts here, two elements. First is that navigation with a class WooCommerce, my account navigation. Let me just, sorry, you don't see my full WooCommerce, my account navigation, and a second div, WooCommerce, my account content. So that's going to help us with the second part. But first, we are focusing on styling that navigation, that nav element. Inside that nav, we have UL with links, list item. Each list item has a common class and unique class. So the common class that's on each element is WooCommerce My Account Navigation link. Each link has that class, but it also has a unique class depending on which link is it. So the first one would have WooCommerce My Account Navigation link dashboard, CSS class. Second would have the same prefix, the same beginning, but it ends with orders, downloads, basically, the same names that we use for the tabs for the content itself. So we have unique classes for each link. We have one common class that all the links share, that we can use to style them all together. And there's also one additional is active class that it would be present only, on the active link, basically. Right now I'm in the main first tab, dashboard, and this is the list item that has that is active class. If I go to orders, then that second list item would have is active class. Okay, so that's the thing that we have to understand about that HTML structure so that we can target that easily. Inside each link, there is a simple A link inside each list item, we have a simple A link. Okay, so first let's remove the dots from the UL. We are going to use WooCommerce navigation class on the nav as a parent. I want to target that UL right here, but it doesn't have any class, any ID. There's no way to select it other than defining the parent container that's logically related to it, and in this case that's navigation with a class WooCommerce My Account Navigation. So that's the parent. And then to target my UL, I'm using space and UL. What's at the end is the target of my selector. So I'm targeting UL, space mean, which is somewhere within that second element. And here list style none. And let's also check how it's you see, when I hover over it, it shows me that green part, that's the padding. So I do want to remove any unwanted padding here from that UL as well. So padding 0. Let's see if that works. Right now it's as big as the content inside, nothing else. So that's the first step. Now I do like to make these links bigger in terms of it doesn't make this in the form of a list, but also indicate where it is, and so that I can hover here next to the link and still select it. Hopefully that makes sense. But to do that, I want to make sure that my A element, so my links, and again I'm using the same navigation class as a parent, or I could use WooCommerce My Account Navigation link as a parent. Either one would work, but since these are the only links inside that nav element, I would stick with the same parent. So nav, WooCommerce My Account Navigation, A. Every link inside display block. And right now you see that's the size of my link, not just the text itself, but the link as well. Okay, so let's add some different styling to it. And let me think for a second. So, okay, background. Let's go with, that's too dark, but something like that. Just, you know, a little lighter, just light grayish. Like I said, I didn't want to focus on the actual look, but yeah, we can make it somehow pretty. The padding should go on the link itself. So padding 0.5 m and then 1 m left and right. That's kind of nice. Obviously the color of the font would need to be different, so let's just make it black. Let's change the font weight to something a bit bolder. Text transformation, uppercase. But when we use uppercase, it's also sometimes a nice idea to change the font size slightly. I could use pixel value, but if I use M's, it will look at the font size set in the text module, I think. Let's go with 0.8 m. That's a bit too little, 0.9, something like that. And a little bit of letter spacing, 0.01 m. 0.2 m. That looks nice. Okay, so that's a good start. We could add a little underline under each list item, or we could use a little margin so that the line between would be the color of our background. If I add margin bottom 2 pixels, you see that creates these lines right there. So I think it's pretty good start. I would probably make this even lighter, just, you know, slightly colored. And then I would want to have a different hover style and active style. So this is the navigation in the default state, and then on hover, so the same selector, but hover state. And let me enable the hover state for on one of these links so that we see what we are doing. Let's say when I'm hovering over the dashboard, so on that element, once it's selected, I can click right here on that have icon, I guess, and enable the hover state. Now it behaves as it would be selected. So when I'm defining new style rule for the hover state, it should show me the changes on that dashboard link. So here, the background, let's go with something like that. I just wanted to match this, but I'm not going to check it. So purple background with white text, so color. That would be my hover state. Let me copy what I have so far. And sorry, just to be sure that you saw what I did. Whenever I'm adding a new style rule using the plus icon here, that creates that inspector style sheet, temporary inspector style sheet. And when I click that link, it opens the sources tab with that inspector style sheet enabled. So I can see all the new style rules that I've added in the inspector right here. Let me just copy that so that we don't lose it. And now this is how my hover effect looks. And you notice that it happens instantly. There's no transition. You may either like that, or you may want to make that hover effect a bit smoother. And in this case, we would need to add the transition. So back to the inspector, back in the default state of the link, if we add a transition property, all 0.3 seconds, and that could be it. Now if I save that, sorry, no, I don't need to save that, I just want to copy it so I don't lose it. And here, now you see it happens as a sort of fade-in effect on hover. So I think that's a good start. Now the active link is also something that I would want to target separately. And remember, we saw that it would have the isActive CSS class. So again, selector would be similar. It is a link inside nav, WooCommerce, My Account, Navigation, but that link has a class of isActive. So dot isActive, and when it is active, we want the color to be white, and let's make the background well, black or almost black. Let's see. No, that's not correct. Do you know what I did wrong? Let me know if you, there's like 15 seconds delay, but do you know why this isn't working and why it is crossed out? Look at the HTML structure here and tell me what I did wrong here with that selector. And just to answer Sylvia's question, why I wait to see if you can spot the error here, I'm doing the nav, WooCommerce, My Account, Navigation, A is active, and this is the structure right here. And Sylvia is asking, if you do it in the inspect tool, do you see a change on the actual website, or do you have to put the code elsewhere? So I see it right now as it is added in the inspector, but as soon as I refresh the page, the code is gone. That's why I keep copying it so that I don't unintentionally refresh myself. There is a way to keep these changes even after you refresh, but that's probably a topic for another moment. But yes, you would need to copy the code somewhere, put it in your Divi WordPress settings somewhere to make actual changes to your site. Right now it's just a preview. It's not I'm not making any actual changes. This is a local site, but if I would be editing any online page this way and you would view it from your browser at the same time, you would see the old original version. No, none of these styles right here. Adela is asking, do we need a space between A and isActive? Actually, well, pretty close, but in this selector right here, you see A dot is active. That means A element with a class is active. And here, it's not A element that gets that is active class. It's the list item. The parent item is does have that is active class, and then we are targeting A inside. So instead of that, the is active is on the li, and then we still want to target the A, so we have to use the space. Let me just, you see, that would be correct. The space between is active and A, yes, it's needed because is active is on the parent container, the class on the li list item, and not on the A itself. And right now it works, although I do want to make this slightly lighter. Okay, so let me just copy the code now. What we did is we removed the padding from the navigation. We've changed some font styling for the links itself, different styles on hover and different styles for the active link. Let me just copy that because if I want add that code to my style sheet and update the file or anywhere else, but if it's not there, then any change between this tab refreshes the page, and that would also refresh the content of my inspector. The temporary style sheet wouldn't be here, but since I've already added it into my child theme, the code is working. So right now it indicates which is the active tab, and I have a nice hover effect that I can go and change in between the tabs. Okay, so that was step one. This is one of the things that we can do here. Now, for the little icons, I know we all love to see icons right here. They add a little even more, like you can maybe quicker see which tab you are interested in. So there are two ways, there are a few ways, more than two actually, but there are two icon fonts that we can use if we would want to manually add a new before pseudo element that uses an icon font such as Font Awesome or Elegant Themes icon font. And one version, the Elegant Theme icon fonts, is pretty straightforward because it will be already loaded if you use WooCommerce. I'm not sure about, because just to explain, in the Divi theme options, we have in the performance tab, we have dynamic icons setting enabled, and that means that not entire icon font will get loaded if that setting is enabled, and Divi will only create a smaller icon font file based on the characters, based on the icons you choose in certain modules. That's the logic behind that setting. But I think, I'm not sure, we'll test that in a second. I think on WooCommerce it would load the entire font anyway, but I can be wrong. Let's just try to add these icons here and we'll see how it works. So whenever I want to use Elegant Themes icon font, I go to that link where they, on their blog, when they explain how to use the icon font, but they also have a nice overview of all icons and their symbols. These are the symbols we are going to need to use. But first, let me find an icon that I like for the dashboard. Maybe this icon could be a generic one, meaning if there is no other icon set, then that flag, or I don't know how to describe that, that icon could be a good fallback, and it could also represent the dashboard. Now, when you are seeing that list, the first three symbols here, and hash and X, represent a backslash. So it's nice to know that. I don't think if we copy it this way as the content for our pseudo element, it will work, but we do want that the second part, so E012 is the content that I would want to get to display that icon. But I'm just getting ahead of myself. To add a before pseudo element with an icon, we would again want to possibly add that before to an A itself. The reason for that is we do want the icon to be clickable as well. And if the before is inside the A link, it's going to, be inside, meaning it's going to work the same as the link text. If you click the icon, it will also take you to that link location. So again, the same target is the A element inside my nav, my account navigation, WooCommerce my account navigation A. But now I'm defining before new pseudo element. For it to display, we have to choose display property, and it could be inline block, we'll see. And then the content which I no longer have copied. Here it was E012, but first I need a backslash. So E012. Right now it shows an empty square. I'm not sure if you can see that, but that's because it doesn't know I want to use the Elegant Themes icon font. So font family, and Inspector will give me suggestions based on the fonts that are currently used. So here I have ET modules elegant font, and actually let me just check this. No, I think the dynamic icon actually has to be disabled for that. But just let me copy that, okay? We'll see. I thought I tested it without it and it worked, but yeah. So I'm disabling dynamic, not dynamic CSS, dynamic icons here, so that Divi loads the full Elegant Themes icon font for me. Saving the changes, and then again going to my child theme to add that before element again. We'll see. And now refreshing the page here. Yes, now it works. Now I see my little icon for each link, because I didn't specify which link exactly I want this icon to be added to. I've targeted every element inside that navigation container. Here I would also want to add some spacing, so margin right, let's go with 5 pixels, or maybe even, sorry, margin right 10 pixels. Yeah, I guess that's nice. And now we could just change the content property for each list item, choosing its own class, the unique class, and a new content value. Right now, that WooCommerce My Account navigation is the class on the nav here, right at the top, very top here. But if we make it more specific and target the A before, but when it's inside a li with a class, and that's very, very long class, something like WooCommerce My Account navigation link orders. Let me go back to, oh, I lost it. Sorry, sorry. Bear with me. So this is my before, and I was trying to do a new one. I have that class on the li. I have to just type it. A before inside that class. Well, I think that should work. Although these two have the same exact specificity. I have element with a class, just like here, element with a class, and then a before. So as long as that second part, declaration will be after the previous one, it's going to work. But here, content, and just let's add 3. You see, 3 is a little arrow from the drop-down menu, but we can go back here to find a little card. Oh, this one. So here we have and #x, so backslash E015. That's what we want to use as the content for an before element on a link that's inside My Account navigation link orders. Okay, so the CSS class matters here, and it was for backslash E015. Sorry, you have to press enter. I always forget that. Okay, see, now I have a different icon for my orders, and then you would repeat the process for other icons. Now if I place that here in my style sheet, we would have a different icon for all links, and then a unique one for links inside list item with navigation link orders class. Let's do just one more downloads. So I guess that could be possibly a download, or do we have something nicer? No, let's go with this one, E020 for downloads. And just to check what's the class name for downloads link, you see when I'm hovering over the Li, it highlights it in blue on the side. That link parent list item class is WooCommerce My Account Navigation Link double oh my god, what's double dash downloads. Okay, so for downloads E020 instead of E15. So just repeating the same code but with different content value, choosing different icon and changing the class to downloads. Update my style sheet. This is where we are, and now my downloads are here. Notice I refreshed the page, and earlier I did make a change to add margin right to my own rule set that was here, but I haven't made that change back in my own code. So that was for the before element itself. Margin right, 10 pixels right here. Every icon, every before pseudo element would have that margin, and then just unique icon property. Now refresh, now it looks much nicer. So we could even take it one step further, choose a different color for my icons. Right now they would share the same color as the text, right? So it works well, but you could may want to do something different. I think on Divi Lover, the page that I showed you, I am using a different hover effect with different color, but hopefully that gets you started. And now a different approach. Okay, so this is purely CSS based way of making the look of these links a bit different, so that it actually looks like a navigation, so that it's easier to navigate. But we can replace all that with content created in the builder itself. Okay, so if I enable the builder right now and add my own custom tabs here, you would have more control. Okay, sorry, yes, before I go to that, because, sorry, I forgot to mention that because we have two font families, so sorry, just a step back, exit the builder. Okay, so that was the Elegant Themes icon font, but we could also use Font Awesome icons, which are not loaded in Divi by default. But if you are using any module, any blurb, any icon module anywhere on your page that is using the Font Awesome icon, then the Font Awesome free version of that icon font will be loaded. So that's a simple approach, and let me show you example because I do have a little theme builder template with a footer that has some blurbs with icons from Font Awesome icon family. And here, let me just assign that to my account page, assign that footer, okay? So that I do have an element with an icon. It's not a needed requirement. You can still add Font Awesome icon font manually, just using instructions from their site. But if you like, this feels like a simpler solution if you already have a bit more complex structure on your page, possibly something in the footer that uses or in the header that uses an icon. Then here on my account, You see now this is my footer, okay, don't mind but it does use Font Awesome. And now let's try changing addresses here, or maybe account details. Icon here for one of these links, but using the Font Awesome instead of ET modules icon font. Inspect, it's going to be very similar, but now if for addresses, or just if you if you would want to use Font Awesome for every font, then every icon, then that before here when we are defining font family, if I change that from ET modules, you see, and now as I've added these little blurbs with icons, I do have Font Awesome on my list because that page is loading that font. If I choose Font Awesome, I can go to Font Awesome icons list, and let's say what could be my dashboard? This little house could be my dashboard, and if I click on it, it gives me my Unicode, and this is the content for the icon that we need to use. So back, I think I'm here. So instead of that, I'm placing the F12, sorry, with enter. Right now, that's the new default icon, and I could replace the downloads content, right, with the content that's corresponding to that font family. So downloads would be, I saw it somewhere, where was it? This, but with the other, did I scroll? Oh, this inbox, or there was one with the arrow I liked more. Where are you? Anyway, it's really, it doesn't matter, but you can choose your own icons, right? But and then if you click on it, I don't see it now, it's lost, it's gone forever. Okay, let's use this one. First row. Oh, 1 second. Oh, this one. Yes, that's the one I saw. Thank you, Johan. Okay, so let's do F019 for the downloads link. And here, remember, I'm only changing it in the inspector, but you can see that it works just the same. That was just something I wanted to mention. If you wish to have more icon choices, not just the default fonts included in the Elegant Themes font, but there is much, more fonts, more symbols, more icons in Font Awesome. But the easiest way to load it is just by including a little blurb and then disabling dynamic icons. That's also an important part. So hopefully that is helpful. I will leave the code for the version with ET icons. And now a different approach, okay? If we enable the builder here, we could create our own tabs, our own links to different parts of that account page. So a new section. And I'm sorry, I know we are getting close to an hour. It's probably going to take a bit longer to explain everything. So I completely understand if you can't stay with me, but I do want to make this thorough and kind of explain everything that I had in mind for this. Okay, so what if we use a four column row and then lose the dashboard link? We really don't need it if it's the initial page we see. There's not really a lot of point of having a link back to that one sentence, but we would want to have orders, downloads, account details, and maybe logout link, or where either 4, depending on your strategy. We could use 6, but just to kind of make it quick and just show you the idea behind it, because it's you can make it your own, match it to whatever it is on your account page, whatever it is that you are doing with your customers. Sometimes you may not even use downloads, right? Or you may not even use addresses if you only use, downloads, I guess. So if there's no actual physical products you ship, then addresses tab is not needed, because you very likely wouldn't want to even, get address from your clients. Either way, we can add our own links. That's the message. So let's use a blurb module for that. And first would be my little orders tab with no content, without an image but an icon. And here you could get creative, make an icon even nicer, like match the brand, instead of using generic elegant themes icon or font awesome icons, create something more unique and then use image instead of icon. But just for the purpose of that demonstration, I'm going to choose that icon right here. Let's make it a bit smaller. Let's also align text in the center. Well, I do want to make this a bit nicer, just a tiny bit. Okay, so let's say this is my first tab. We could do a little background, although I'm not so sure if I like the background idea, but let's do something similar to what we did here. Since I'm using a background, I also want to add some padding, top and bottom, although I think less on the bottom because the title already uses some margin. So 30 and 20, and let's go with border radius around the corners a little bit so that it kind of looks like something you could click on, like a big button. And now it can link to your orders tab. If just to kind of show you this here, if we go to orders, the URL changes to my account orders. If we go to downloads tab, the URL changes to my account downloads. So you can create your own links that would go to these URLs. If you would want to change these URLs, you would go to WooCommerce settings, advanced. Here you assign your account page, but here you have WooCommerce endpoints, and for account endpoints you can define what's the name for the orders tab, the view order, downloads, all these different parts of account content that can be shown can use different endpoints. So whatever is set here would be visible as the part of your URL. And then in back here, let's close that one, back here in the link for the blurb, I could just link the entire module and say my content / orders. Okay, that's one step, I think. I'm just thinking if I'm not forgetting anything. So these are my orders. Let's just duplicate that and let's add, downloads. Let's assume this is a shop that doesn't sell any physical products, but some digital ones. So here we have downloads. Let's change the icon real quick. This one. Okay, and let's change the link, right? So my content, and you see when I'm starting with a slash, that just goes directly right after domain name. I could put the whole domain name here, that would also work, but that would kind of work on any shop really. If you have the default endpoints and default my account page name, that would work everywhere. But yeah, you do want to make sure that that link actually works on your website. Here, downloads, I think, let's just check. Yes, downloads. And let's do the third one, account details. So something like that with a little person. Something like this maybe, or this. Yeah, that should be nice. And here, let me just copy. Edit account would be the link in the URL. So my content / edit account. And lastly, we can go with logout here. Okay, let's just keep it simple. Log out icon, exit. Yeah, probably something, I'm not sure if I like it, but anyway, the logout link is customer logout. So back here, content link. Okay, let's save that. Adela, so you could add courses and as a new endpoint and add a nice button for courses? Yes, you could. It could be a separate page that looks and has that same navigation at the top that you use as your courses page. So if the beginning is the same, the user would still feel like it's they are in the same place editing their account. But if you would actually want to include your courses link here in the default WooCommerce links, there is quite a lot of, well, not a lot, but there is some PHP required to do that. But it is doable to extend the list of the default links. But if you would go with this approach where you are recreating your structure inside Divi, then including a separate tab with courses and making sure the page you link to shares the same the same format in the header, you could include the content of your courses just on a static page. And Adela's asking, or rename order to courses. There is also a way to rename these endpoints, but I wouldn't touch orders. That part is pretty important. So even if someone enrolls in your course, they would still place an order. So keeping orders as is would be my recommendation. But yes, having a separate courses tab here is doable. So now I have 4 different blurb modules, each linking to different part of inner content on the account page. Let's save that. Actually, let's before I save, let's hide a little bit of spacing here. We could even do something like that. I know a popular thing to do is like do the negative margin here. I'm not sure how much I like it, but if we go with negative 80 pixels here for the row itself, I think the preview here is not accurate. Let's see. Let's save that again, exit. Actually, it was accurate, sorry. Never mind the negative margin. Although now I'm curious, like this row is not white, why it would? Let's do transform translate. If you wish to move the content, to the top a little bit so that it overlaps here, we could do something like negative 80 pixels right here. Okay, then we would probably want to make sure we have enough room at the top here, and also remove some of the spacing here, because that 80 pixels would still be you would still keep the space for it. You are just moving the content, but it's actually kind of still there. So transform, translate doesn't move everything to the top. Negative margin should, but okay, that's not what I wanted to focus. Let's save that for a second. Okay, we have our different links, and now let's see if that works. My content orders. Was it my orders? My account, and I did my content everywhere. Sorry guys, a quick fix. I don't know what I was thinking. My account, obviously. Here, 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 my account. Okay, now let's save that. Let's go back to my account, and now orders, downloads, account details, and a link to log out. That works. One thing that's now, a bit silly is to have two navigations. We can hide that part with CSS, right? So here we would only want to see the full width, the content part, not the navigation part. And to do that, we can simply hide that with CSS. Right here, remember when I showed you, we have a div with a class WooCommerce, and inside it has two elements, a nav with WooCommerce My Account Navigation and a div with a WooCommerce My Account Content. We want to hide WooCommerce My Account Navigation element by adding a new style rule. It already suggested the correct selector because it only has one CSS class, display none. Okay, that's one thing, but then if we notice that it had it was using a 30% of available width, and that means that WooCommerce My Account Content is using less than 70. We want to stretch that element to full width, and again, new selector, so div with WooCommerce My Account Content with 100%, but it won't work, and why we should immediately see why it's not working. My selector uses one class without any element, so specificity, as you see, is 0, 1, 0, and that selector that also targets width property, that's what we are focusing on, why my width isn't 100%, as I said it should be. That selector also targets width, and it uses two CSS classes, so the specificity is 0, 2, 0. So for that, we can add additional class, and we can use the same. WooCommerce account is actually a class that's added on the body container right here at the top, so we can use the same class as the parent. We can be even a tad more specific by saying body with a class WooCommerce account, and this way my selector is always going to work, even if my CSS is loaded before WooCommerce's CSS. That part is coming from WooCommerce styles, WooCommerce plugin. So, if there's any caching minification, if you're loading WooCommerce in a different order, then making sure whenever you're trying to override its styling, making sure your specificity is at least 1 point higher, it's safer. So for that, just getting that CSS to my style sheet. And now my account page here. looks like this. So I have my orders, I have my dashboard. If I go to my account, initially I see that text about, from the dashboard tab. Now in the downloads, I have downloads, I have my account details and a logout link. I really hate that space here. Let me just try to fix that. I don't like how we used translate with such a big number. I like to use translate for little things like moving things like 2 pixels, but here let's try maybe moving the entire section. Design, spacing, negative margin, margin top, negative 60 pixels, and let's make sure the background is set to transparent. Okay, so this kind of works, maybe a bit more. Not sizing, spacing, negative 80. Okay, that moves it to the top a little bit. Then I would, change the spacing here. So at the bottom, I would have more space than at the top, something like that. Or even something like that. And also that space here, that first section, it's not needed. And what else I not love about that is, you see how long it is? It's kind of difficult to read. There usually isn't that much content. Like that form could be narrower. Every part here, even the tab with orders could be narrower. So for that, I would also limit the width of that text module underneath. So sizing, max width, let's go with something like 700 pixels and align it in the center. Right now that doesn't show me the preview because I haven't refreshed that theme builder page, but here if we refresh on the front end, now it looks much better. One thing before we get to that awful looking part right here, the content, the actual content of our tabs, which is also, by default not very, not so nice looking. There's one more thing we can do with these blurb modules is to indicate the, we can do the hover state with the module settings, right? So for example, if I go to, let's refresh that page. We can do hover style since it's one module and the link is assigned to the entire module. We can do hover styles right here. So background is light gray, and then maybe on hover it would be almost black, like very dark, something like that on hover. And then we would want to, icon is, I guess it's fine. We would want to change the title text on hover. So here on hover, it would be white and default is gray. Then this is my hover state. Let's extend title text call to all bursts throughout this section. I'm not sure if it's going to work for hover state. Let's see. Design title text on hover. Yes, it is white. So yeah, let's let's go back and do the same with background. So let's background here. Extend background styles to all blurbs throughout this section. Extend. I think it should work. Let me just save and refresh. Okay, the background didn't extend that nicely. The extending styles works well, like maybe, but not so much. Maybe I didn't refresh it correctly. It looks like it's working. Maybe just saving it again in individual module. I'm not sure. Okay, it was already here, so it did extend it. maybe I didn't save it. Let's refresh again. Okay, now my hover style works. I don't love it. It's too much, like going from light to dark this way. But anyway, this is the hover state, and we can also target active state with CSS. And let me show you. In addition to different URL, the body element also gets, sorry, what am I doing? The body element also gets a different CSS class when in that particular page. So for orders, we have WooCommerce account, that's the CSS class on every account sub-tab, but it also has WooCommerce page, WooCommerce orders, that's the unique class. If I go to downloads, I won't see WooCommerce orders, but I see WooCommerce downloads. So we can use that body parent class to target each individual blurb module and change its appearance, change its colors, so that it kind of looks like the currently selected tab. To do that, we also have to have a way to target these blurb modules individually, separately, and for that we need a unique CSS class. So tab orders, then my downloads blurb would have a CSS class of tab downloads, account details, CSS class tab account, and lastly advanced tab logout. Okay, I'm saving it again, and now I have two unique CSS classes that I can attach my styling to. That blurb module has a class of tab orders, and when it's inside a body with a class WooCommerce orders, then the styling will be different. So first class is tab orders, the class that I've defined for that blurb module. So when the tab orders element is inside body with a class, it's WooCommerce dash orders. Then the background color should be white. Okay, that works without any important. And I would also do a little shadow here. You see, it kind of asks for it. So that indicates that we are on the same page, keeping the same background color. But what if we add a box shadow that's kind of behind it? So first, I think it's X, so 0, and then negative 20 pixels, and then blur of 80 pixels, and then truncate it a little bit, so negative 20 pixels. Okay, the blur is too big, and here we can move it a bit here, and then at the end, color, RGBA. Well, I will go with a light black, but it's actually, it would be even better to go with something purplish. Okay, that's too much. Let's go with actually, let's play with that. The inspector has a little oh, that's more how I like it. So X offset 0, negative 20 for Y axis. Okay, I kind of like it. I would probably make it slightly lighter. Okay, that's super nice. Not sure how well you see it, but yeah, I think it's it gives a nice indication. And then we would have to do the same thing for each blurb module separately. But since the styling we are applying is going to be the same, so both background and box shadow properties are what we want to change, for each blurb, we can just add more targets to the same rule set. And that would mean that right here, we would add a comma and then go body WooCommerce downloads, tab downloads. WooCommerce downloads. Let's try. I'm not sure. User account, I think it's going to be CSS class on user account, and our class on the blurb with accounted details is tab account. And lastly, we have probably body WooCommerce logout. I'm not sure. I'm just guessing here. We have to fix that in a second. Log out and tab logout. Let me just copy that, place it in my child theme so that we see it working when I refresh the page here. And I probably don't have body classes right, but orders work, downloads don't work. I didn't get anyone, none of them correctly. But let's see. The downloads tab has a CSS class, WooCommerce downloads. Okay, so I think that's what I did. Oh, there was a typo here, downloads. Okay, what about my account? WooCommerce account detail, edit account. So not user account, but edit account. And lastly, the logout tab has a class WooCommerce customer logout. WooCommerce customer logout. Update file. Sorry, let's refresh. Now it should work. Logout tab is the active one, meaning white with a nice shadow. Actually, the shadow could work well even on the initial state. But yes, so that would be your custom tabs that you can include in your account page, all made with the Divi Builder with a little bit of CSS. You can control how the active one looks just by connecting the class from the body container to the class of the element itself if you are using a blurb. So connecting body to the blurb class. Okay, lastly, the final part that I want to talk about is the actual content here. So here, these buttons, there is no, if we go here, there is no button settings inside text modules, right? So there is nothing we can do to change the appearance of these buttons. Like we can play with fonts, right? The text itself, let's actually try. If I change the text, let's go with fig tree, and let's go like 16 pixels, and then just to test, my link colors should be purple, okay? And let's save that. So just like initial trying to make it look nice, just my account. Okay, so that's how that text looks. That font family is conveyed. It's also working on every part of your in here. For the link color, change the button color here. So that's like a bit weird, but I'm guessing like that's the default what Divi is trying to do, even though we are in a text module. That's the Divi's attempt to style that WooCommerce shortcode. It's not perfect, but it is like a good start. Now, other way to style these buttons is through theme customizer. So if we go to theme customizer and buttons section, we can change the style of the buttons here, and I think it would apply to the button. Oh, you see, this one even doesn't use the purple styling. So the thing with buttons inside WooCommerce is that they would work it's really all over the place. And if you want to be 100% sure that it looks perfect everywhere, you kind of have to work for it, and sometimes with CSS. But first, let's see the styling for the buttons. So button, let's go with the button that actually looks like a button. So text color white. Let's make this smaller, the font family. Let's maybe lose the border. Border radius could be, okay, let's add a background color so that we see what we are doing. I would want something like that. And then border radius to be rounded. Okay, let's change the font as well. I wouldn't be worried about changing it here. It will, like any styling here, will apply only to your default buttons. So I guess it is a good practice to go in and style them to kind of match the button preset you're then going to use for actual modules that support the button design settings. But if not, you still want to be sure that even if the default one is used, it kind of looks similar to the rest of your page. Yeah, sorry, I don't want to, let's go with the default font. I would remove the icon here, so no icon, because sometimes it does that spacing, the icon hover effect, and sometimes it only moves the icon, keeping the button same width, so it kind of is inconsistent. For the default button styling, I would suggest removing the icon altogether, and just fixing the initial and the hover state. Now that seems, I'm not sure if it's just a preview or if it's going to be a problem here with that color. You see, I changed my text color to white, but it still here is purple because of the link color settings that I've set in the text module. So we'll see if there's anything we can do to fix that, but just to also fix the hover state. So for hover text color, I would want to keep the white, and then the background would be purple, and then there's no border, but the border radius should stay. Okay, so the hover link color works, just not the initial one. One thing that comes to mind is, what if we won't set the font link color here? That could be easy fix because we wouldn't need to fight each button color settings. So if I won't change the color in my text module here, it will go back to default blue, but that default blue can be changed in my in the general settings, layout, theme, accent color. So if I change it to purple, just to publish the page so that we can actually see what I've edited, close the page here. Now you see it is working as I set it in the theme customizer, and also the initial page, even though I think I saved that here. So even though I don't see, I don't have that link color change on the module settings, I can still change that color by changing the accent color. And now, okay, so that's a good start. My orders, buttons look a bit nicer. Well, this is not ideal. And I will share later how we can target different parts of the page. Or maybe let's do it now. Sorry, I'm not sure what would be better. Let's actually, okay, yes, let's compile a list of things that you may want to edit and how to target them, so that you have an easy copy and paste method. First, there is that whole notice section. So you could either change the notice color entirely, maybe. So first, let's target the notice. Okay, so The notice would be something like WooCommerce message, WooCommerce info, which is inside WooCommerce notices wrapper and the content. So the info, WooCommerce info class is what's using the background color. Full disclosure and a heads up, once you start changing these colors, you'll notice that they would kind of creep up on you anyway. That background is added here based on that theme accent color change. And as you see, the selector targets different areas, not only WooCommerce info, but also WooCommerce error, WooCommerce message, input button, WooCommerce input, response submit button. Different parts of WooCommerce elements would use background with your chosen color and important tag. So once you start editing these, you may find yourself adding a lot of code just to keep overwriting and overwriting different versions. So maybe instead of, if it's very important, then sure, we can target that by using WooCommerce info CSS class. Even better, if only the My Account section is what we always want to target now with CSS, we could, just for the sake of making sure that our CSS is going to work, add ID to that, like DL account or something like your account, my account. Well, not my account, because that's the class that's maybe visible somewhere in WooCommerce, but something account, or just, my custom ID. And then I can use that ID as the parent container for my WooCommerce info. Just let me refresh, so that ID is here at the parent container level, div ID DL account. So then WooCommerce info inside ID DL account would have background white. I have to use important. It doesn't matter that my selector is stronger. I am already trying to overwrite important elsewhere. Background important, and then color something dark for the text color. And you see the color is also using important here. So for my color to work, I also have to use important. Now I would add a little border here so that we can see the notice, border or border radius, but let's go with border, 2 pixels, and then that color, that purple color, solid. Okay, that looks nicer, I think. So that could be a start. Now the button doesn't look awkward, like losing the background, since it's the same background color, and the notice looks like a notice. So let me add that here, and let's see if that's going to be the only place that this is that notice is using. So we don't have this here, no downloads, orders. What if I view the order? I do have different tables here, and if I log out, okay, here you see that notice isn't using WooCommerce info, but let's see. This one is using WooCommerce message and also 2 CSS classes, but WooCommerce message, this one is working with the important. So not only WooCommerce info, but also WooCommerce message inside DL account would use these new colors and new border. DL account as a parent. You see I've added a comma because I want to target 2 different elements with the same properties. Update the file, and now back here, no, here, refresh the page. Now the log out also uses the same styling. But you see here, there is a link and that link shouldn't be white, and it even shouldn't be white earlier. it shouldn't be the same color as the text itself. There was no indication that we can click on that link. So let's target, let's find what, you see, WooCommerce message A element has a color of white. So what if inside that same element, but inside my DL account parent, WooCommerce message A, and here I would want to use the purple color, this one. Okay, maybe even underline text decoration, something like that. That is a nicer indication that we can actually click on it. So, and I would assume that possibly there are links in WooCommerce info boxes as well. So just to be safe, I would do the same thing for both WooCommerce info and WooCommerce message. And I would add that right underneath here. Update the file. So yeah, that's the well, pretty good start. I guess we already have nicer notices when there's no, oh, actually, okay, that didn't work how we wanted, right? So WooCommerce info, that means this is A as well. That I just changed to be purple. I thought I'm doing myself a favor, my future self, but actually that button that looks like a button, well, it has a class button. So maybe if the link is inside WooCommerce info and doesn't have a class button, then it should be purple and underlined. So back to my selector, WooCommerce info A, not. We can, just as the same as we are defining an element that has a certain class, we can also define an element only when it doesn't have a certain class. So any A that not has a class of button, and I think it would be safe to do this here as well. If for any reason there is a WooCommerce message pop up somewhere, because it can happen, like if someone is editing their address and they added an incorrect character, maybe then there is an info box with some link. Like there are different scenarios that can happen in your account page. You would obviously want to test it and see if everything can be clickable, accessible, if the colors aren't off or odd in different places. But right now, no downloads. The button should work as a button. The link is still a link here. Okay, so what about our table? We could let me show you how we can target and change the appearance of that table a little bit. Right now, since I've added 2-pixel border to my notices, I think that table would also work well if it used a thicker border, possibly. So let's see. Right now, the border is added to every every table inside entry content. So it's not even that it's just something that WooCommerce is adding, but the Divi, that's how Divi styles all tables. It even Divi styling overrides WooCommerce styling in terms of what's the see if it wouldn't be here. Well, that looks very similar actually. The color is similar, but yes, it is using 1-pixel solid light gray border. We can target that table in different ways, but it has a table with WooCommerce order tables, shop table, responsive, account orders table. I'm not sure, to be honest, which one would be best to use. There will be more than one table to style here. Let's go with that selector. a table with a class shop table, but when inside my ID, so ID DL account, table, shop table, and let's go with border width 2 pixels. I'm not sure if I like the radius, border radius here, but maybe some, if we add some spacing, more spacing here, so each TH inside, the inner cell, TD and TH uses 4 and 8 pixel padding. What if it would be a bit more, so that there's like, we give a little bit more room to breathe to our tables. And again, I could use the same selector, but include my DL account as the parent. So inside DL account, instead of that parent, table with my account orders, TD inside, and table with my account orders, TH. So both cell types would have a padding. Let's go with 10 top and bottom, and 15 pixels on the side. You see, it is already looking much better, I would say, like this, or without that. That table is like cramped. Usually it's not like your customers would have 50 orders, so there's like usually not that much table rows, right? So it is a good idea to give it a bit more room. I've added 2 pixels here, but still in between tables there is just 1 pixel line, and that's because each TD table data cell also has border top of 1 pixel. So let's change that using the same selector, right, as the main table. So not only table itself, but also TD elements inside would use a border width of 2 pixels. So yeah, I think that's a nice start. Now if I add that to my child theme, update the file, and then we can refresh to see if that applies further, right? If we view the order, okay, so that that table also uses a 2 pixel width, not this one. So we again would need to, and I see here I have 1 pixel width here, 2 pixel width. So basically, as you see me do that, it's not that easy to just tell you, okay, this is how you can style it. This is the CSS that you would want to use. It will be different depending on what you are trying to do, but what you need to be able to do is to find the correct thing that you want to target, define logical selector for it, and then apply your customization. And for that reason, if you are working with WooCommerce, your CSS will get longer. It's not possible, for example, to add more spacing here between the description of that order and that heading. Like, why is it so cramped together? It would look much nicer if that part would have some bottom margin, right? But before we get to that, let's see why this part is using so TH inside WooCommerce shop table has border top of 1 pixels. So back here I've only targeted TDs inside my shop table, so I would want to target TH as well. Now if I update the file, refresh, now everything is 2 pixel wide, just like I wanted. But I think, let me just check, I don't think the padding that I've used previously for that first table on order list isn't working here, and it's because it's on the TH element. So my padding oh no, it was TH. Let's see. Is it table my account orders or is it a different table? Table order details. But it's still shop table. So maybe instead of using my account orders, if we use shop table, as it seems like it's the common CSS class, maybe then setting that padding this way would work in both places. Yes, now both the order list has that padding, and then when we view the order details also use that padding, because that's the CSS class on the table that they both share here. Okay, spacing. If we want to target the headings on our account page, WooCommerce order details title, H2, and the second one with billing details is also H2 WooCommerce column title. We could target every H2, and let's see if doing that in the module settings is going to help us. Enable the builder. I think it should, but I'm not sure. Let's see if in the text module settings that holds the content of everything here, heading text H2, just to see. Well, the font is not important because it would use the same one, but let's go with bold, uppercase, and let's just make it smaller, just to see if it's going to take effect on the H2s inside the orders detail section. Okay, yes, that is working. So we can style headings using the module settings, knowing that these are H2s. I think here we would also, no, we don't see them here. So yes, there is some customization options available, although the font size that you set for the text itself, I don't think it's going to work everywhere. But here that spacing is bugging me. So that container, a paragraph with no any unique identifiers, no attributes. There is notices wrapper. So instead of targeting that paragraph and adding bottom space, I would want to target WooCommerce order details section and just add margin top 40 pixels. Something like that. Okay, now it already, like, simple changes like that makes all the difference. And the more time you spend on it, the more time you tweak it to, you know, to look more spacious, more thought out. It's going to look better. Let's paste that here. So another part is just separating the order details between the order details and the description of the order. Exactly, Adela. Spacing makes all the difference. The default tables here are very, like, there is a lot of information, so there is a lot of we can do to fix that. Same here, the billing address. What if, since it's just a billing address, it's usually not going to be so wide, right? So we can add even more spacing to that container. And it also uses a 1 pixel border, so that doesn't match my styling. I want to take that same selector it already uses, but use it with my DL account parent container, and then change the border with 2 pixels and change the padding. So padding 30 pixels, something like that. It is still, it matches the rest of the site. It is looking much better this way. Like, whenever you feel like something is not entirely right, looking not entirely great, usually just adding more space around it is one of sure ways to help it feel cleaner. Standard is space. About space of word is limited by CSS in WooCommerce. If I build menu to languages, what is common doing in Woo website? I'm not sure I understand the question. Space of words limited by CSS in WooCommerce. Which place exactly the space of words you mean? Sometimes, yes, we would see truncated text, but I'm not sure if it applies to WooCommerce styling. If you have menu in 2 languages, what is common doing in Woo website? Well, whatever translation plugin you are using, it would translate the account page as well. So I'm guessing maybe different pages, if you are doing your navigation this way manually, then having 2 separate pages for 2 languages would need to be made, depending on the plugin you're working with, because sometimes you would have the option to create different content for different language, and sometimes they would just automatically translate everything for you. So that depends. But okay, the question is, I have only English, how can I have second language? By installing a translation plugin. Popular choices, and we discussed that in our student launch. If you look for translation, possibly you would find a post with different students chiming in with their experience. But the popular choices are WPML. It's not a free plugin anymore. Free version is Polylang. Again, a plugin that allows you to create different content for different languages, more than 2 if you need. And there was one, which I forget now, that was a new version, new plugin option that some students recommended. I haven't worked with it myself and don't remember the name right now, but I will get back to you. Or yes, exactly, Adela, thank you. Adela says she'll tag you in the community. There was a thread where we discussed that, so there are some good options there. Okay, going back to my inner content of my pages, let's see what else I could fix there. So my order details and order list look nice, although you see, as I go back and forth, it seems like that font family is just too small. Let's just check that. I've set 16 pixels for the font size in the text module. You see, font size 1 pointy, 1 pointy, what am I saying? Okay, the morning fresh brain, that didn't work. It's just going to be me, no matter the time of the day. Font size 0.85 M. That means that we are decreasing the font size. And just going back to, sorry, I just saw the comment from Adela, Polylang. Yes, Polylang is one of the options that I remembered, but there was just one additional one as well. Don't know now. Something Express? Yeah, sorry. But yeah, Polylang also a good option. I worked with that plugin. It works well. But I think there's a new option as well. Okay, back here. Font size 0.85 means that it's going to be less than 1, right? It's a fraction. We can reset that with setting 1M back, and that will just follow the font size we set in the in our text module. So table, my account orders, I want this table inside DL, my DL account, to have font size of 1M, and that just nicely matches the rest of the content here. I have bigger font sizes, so there's no reason for that list of orders to use smaller, right? So right now it is looking much better. Let's just do our forms as the last part here there's, yes, there's just a regular text right here. Okay, so how do we target our labels and our inputs? These are the two things that we would want to possibly change here, and maybe add some, maybe the button itself, maybe it could use more spacing. When we removed the icon in the theme customizer, it kind of removed the spacing that they use for the icon. So we could add more spacing, just position that and make it slightly bigger. Okay, but first, to target every label in my account forms, we could go with a simple label element inside DL account. Just like that, my ID would very likely override any settings that are set for labels someplace else, which aren't many. Apparently, we have a line height, display block, but there is no actual styling applied to labels separately, so there's no color, font sizes change. We can do that ourselves. So label inside DL account, and here I would go with font weight 600, maybe darker, so color something almost dark. I like to use uppercase for my labels, but it doesn't work well with things like current passport, leave blank to leave unchanged. With long labels, uppercase may not be the best choice. But yes, I think that is a good start, just making the text more visible than the rest of the content, and maybe possibly adding a little bit of margin at the top, just margin top half M, so half of its size, or just 1 M. Yeah, 1 M, it's nice. Like this way, we connect the label to the input by adding space above it. We make sure that the input that's before it, we don't confuse where is that label, which input it refers to, if it's closer to the one below, right? So margin top would work well here, unless we want to add margin bottom to inputs. Actually, that could be better, because right now I've also added a little margin at the top, at the very top here. So let's hold with the margin, and now let's target inputs the same way we target labels. So DL account as the parent, and then any input inside input field, and that would, whether it's input type text or input type password, it would apply. And we can do something like, well, the margin for starters. So margin bottom, let's go with 1 M. Oh no, that doesn't work well. Margin bottom. I'm saying bottom and typing top. Margin bottom. Oh, that's nicer. Okay. And let's, instead of doing the background, let's go with border. So background transparent, but border 2 pixel solid light gray, something like that. That looks like nice inputs. Font weight, I think it's light or something, I'm not sure, but it seems very light. Let's see if I change the font weight. Yes, you see, when I'm changing it to 400, it changes. So some place it was set to lighter version. I think 4 or even 500. My font that I'm using here has all the weights, so for me 500 I think looks nice. And yeah, maybe a little border radius, like you can match that. It's not like one style is the perfect one. It's just hopefully it's going to help you target these parts of account page yourself with your own styling. You could stay with the background color. You could do, you know, box shadow, whatever it is that matches the rest of your content. We could go further with styling input when it's focused. When we click on the field, we could indicate that it is selected. We can do that by using pseudo class of focus. So similar to hover, but for inputs, focus works, and we can do border color purple, medium purple, and then when I click on it, it you know, highlights the thing that I have currently my cursor in, which is also a nice UX improvement, I would say. So I would leave it be. I'm not sure about that description. Let's see, why is it you know, italicized? I don't see the reason it should be italicized here. So, but it also doesn't have any specific you know, selector. So I guess we could unitalicize every M inside my account content section. I'm not sure if it's a good idea. I'm not sure where else it would be used, but I don't think I like it this here. So yeah, the only way to target is by using the M itself, and then we can find the parent. But this paragraph, WooCommerce for row, is very generic. It doesn't indicate it's this specific row. It could be any row inside any form in WooCommerce here. So I will use my text module as a parent, again, DL account, and then every M, so every time the text would be italic for some reason, my won't be. So font style normal. Yeah, I think that makes more sense here. I don't like having too many font styles in one place. I don't see the reason for that here. Okay, so these are my labels and inputs. Let's put that to my style sheet as well. Update the file, refresh the page here. We were supposed to do the button next as well. Just let me check. There was no tables here, just the account settings. Okay, so yeah, that works well. And then just to target the button, it should have a class of a button, class WooCommerce button, and it also has a name save account details. If that would be the only button that I want to target, then we could go with WooCommerce button CSS class. I would guess it's added to every button here, but I don't think it's the every button that I want to make bigger. For example, here on my orders, these view buttons, they don't need to be larger, right? So if I were to only target that specific button, I would need to find something unique about that. So here I see that this form where that button is placed inside has a class of WooCommerce edit account form, edit account also a class. So that is a class that I'm going to use as a parent. I have my button selected, so button with a class button. Okay, that makes sense. But inside edit account form edit account, which is inside DL account, right? Now I'm targeting the button, that's what's at the end here, but only if it's inside a form with a class edit account right here, and only if it's inside DL account element, which is my text module. And here, let's change the padding, 1M, 2M. How that looks. It doesn't look like anything because it's most likely being overwritten elsewhere. You see the padding here on this super long selector is using important tag. I'm pretty sure that if you see, that is the part that's right now selecting the thing that I'm trying to change, the darker font. ET button, no icon, WooCommerce page button with a class button. Only 3 CSS classes and an element is used. I have ID in my selector, so I know that now if I add that important, I have to, since it's already there, it will work because my selector is more specific. So yeah, we could just leave it like that, possibly change font styling depending on how our standard buttons look. We can do more here, but just making it bigger kind of matches the bigger inputs we've created as well. Okay, I think that is it. I hope this was helpful. I know we kind of jump around, but there is a lot of different things that you may want to do or edit here. Hey again, this was a lot, I know. I really hope this helps you know how to customize your customer account page, making it your own, and just ensuring it matches the rest of your site for that seamless, consistent look. If you enjoy tutorials like this, be sure to subscribe to our newsletter so you don't miss the next edition of the Divi Stylist Academy. And as always, do let me know your thoughts in the comments. Thank you so much for watching and see you in the next one.